Welcome to this week's edition of JCS News, bringing you news and announcements from around the Jefferson County school system. I'm Amanda. Our first story is a congratulations to all of the elementary students from Jefferson County who were appointed to the West Virginia All-State Chorus. Students from Blue Ridge, Shepherdstown Elementary, and Wright Denny Intermediate Schools were recognized at the most recent Board of Education meeting.
I am here as a representative of the West Virginia All-State Children's Chorus. The All-State Children's Chorus is an excellent opportunity for our choral students. Every year we are allowed to select a certain number of students from our chorus. Once these students go through an audition process, then they stay after school twice a week for an hour. They learn 9 songs total. One of them is in Chinese, one is in French, 2 of them are in Latin, and then the rest of them are in English. So there's a lot of hard work involved with this for our students.
Choir members from both Jefferson and Washington high schools auditioned and were appointed to West Virginia All-State Chorus and Chamber Choir. The students traveled to Charleston to rehearse and participate in All-State performance on Saturday, March 4th. Several band members from Jefferson County also made the journey to perform with the West Virginia All-State Band and Orchestra. Students from Shepherdstown Middle School translated portions of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution in modern language. Sad Zembrowski, Hunter Lang, and Cheyenne Lay were recognized by their teacher for an outstanding job on the project.
And I just couldn't be prouder of how articulate and how well-spoken my students are. When I present Cheyenne Lay and Hunter Lang with their certificates, these folks took the 500 words of the introduction, the preamble, and the conclusion of the Declaration of Independence, spent about 3 weeks bleeding from the eyeballs trying to figure out what Thomas Jefferson was actually trying to say without a lot of guidance from me, allowing them to actually go through the language and bring that arcane language into their modern language and then actually rewrite the entire document.
Stephanie Bauer, a teacher at T.A. Lowry Elementary School, was this month's recipient of the Spirit of Jefferson Award. The service personnel recipient of the Spirit of Jefferson Award was Pam Fravel of C.W. Shipley. Her principal, Mr. Ian Hillman, presented her award.
Miss Pam is the first voice you hear and the first face you see if you enter C.W. Shipley. She's responsible for answering the phone, operating the buzzer system, and putting in the attendance. And almost every day, those are simultaneous. She does the yearbook, she takes pictures, she plays the national anthem. She gives out awards. She sings happy birthday to the kids. She plays the happy song on Friday. She's very efficient at doing the morning and afternoon announcements. And in her absence, I took part in the afternoon announcements. Had a 5th grade student tell me that he prefers Miss Pam to do that.
Last program, we extended congratulations to the Jefferson High School Symphonic Band for being named the 2017 West Virginia Honor Concert Band. This week, we are happy to report that the Shepherdstown Middle School Jazz Ensemble was named the 2017 West Virginia Middle School Jazz Ensemble. Congratulations to both groups. PreK registration is underway in Jefferson County. Visit the homepage of the JCS website to download the PreK forms. All forms are to be turned in to the Head Start site at T.A. Lowry Elementary School. We spoke to Dr. Sherry Hetzel about things to remember when going through the registration process.
Your child is eligible for PreK when they are 4 years old prior to September 1. They must be the age 4 prior to September 1. And then the free class is a 5-hour Jefferson County class. And then if they need aftercare, which is something that our child care community partners can serve the parents with aftercare, that is a paid clarifier. That's what I'll just ask them to check with the child care people to know that if they need extended care, they will check on what that costs. After February 15th, I'll say by February 16th, everything will be online as far as the registration application. And we are asking parents to download that and to follow the directions. It is a simpler process. We don't have your choices built in this year. You just simply fill out the registration paperwork, bring your health form or put your doctor's completed health form with that packet, and also your dental screening form And that means your child will need to visit a dentist and a doctor before they attend school, they enter for the first time, which is at pre-K. Once you download the application and you put your certified a copy of your certified birth certificate for your child with it, your health form, your dental screening form, then you would then bring that whole packet filled out and complete to the Head Start office. And the Head Start office is right next to TA Lowry. If you're looking at TA Lowry and you face on TA Lowry Elementary School, it's right on the right-hand side, the little brick building, and there's usually Head Start buses out there. They are going to receive your applications in there and put you on a database, which what we'll do in turn, once you're entered in the database as a completed application for a student, then we will be calling you to give you a face-to-face appointment. And that's really the new piece. I'm pretty excited about this piece because in the past, parents have had lots of questions, and you can't ask that on the website. And you can't always get someone to answer, the phone call right away. But this way, when they come face to face and they have an appointment, one of 3 days, March 20th, 8:30 to 3, April 24th, same time, 8:30 to 3, or May 22nd. And there will be representatives from every pre-K entity. The community partners will be there, Head Start will be there, Jefferson County LEA will be there. And parents will come in, will have their application that they turned in, but then they will have that face-to-face conversation. What's the best thing for my pre-Ker? What's the best site? Then they'll feel confident enough to mark what's my first choice, second, or third. Of course, the age requirements for all pre-Kers are prior to September 1. They must be 4. But there is a little if. If your child's been part of the Birth to 3 program and they have an IEP developed, or they've been working with pupil services and they want to become eligible for pre-K as soon as possible, we set them up with a meeting with Mrs. Dingus and Pupil Services, and they can go through the eligibility process. Once they turn their 3rd birthday hits and they turn the 3, then we have a program that they can come in, either sometimes it's part-time according to their IEP, and we would serve them according to that. So that's a little bit different. That's just been in the last couple years that they've been joining us in our classes, what do you call them, collaborative classes. The last step, once they come in and they get their assignment or they choose their first, second, and third choice face-to-face, there's one other step, and that is, where will my child be? Did he get his first choice, second, or third? Well, we've come up with some dates that we think are reasonable for parents, and if they are with Jefferson County schools, they would know by June 15th where their child would be attending. If they're with Head Start, they have a little bit more federal guidelines that doesn't allow them to assign children until mid-July. So, but everyone will know this summer. June 15th will be an early notification where your child would be going, their first or their second or their third choice, and mid-July definitely for Head Start parents.
Kindergarten registration is coming up quickly, so check the JCS website or your district's elementary school site to find out when kindergarten registration will be held at your school. We'll be right back after this.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Every week, we try to take a look back on events from the past that have in some way affected our lives today. Here's Ethan Brady and Tatum Warchow with this week's Day in History.
February 27, 1827, Mardi Gras celebration takes to the streets of New Orleans. The celebration began when a group of masked and costumed students danced in the streets of New Orleans, Louisiana, starting the tradition of the famous Mardi Gras celebrations. Mardi Gras directly translates from French into English as Fat Tuesday. Mardi Gras was derived from the celebration of Carnival, which is the weeks between Twelfth Night on January 6th and Ash Wednesday. Carnival spread from Rome to Europe and eventually the Americas. French settlers brought Mardi Gras to Louisiana, but the Spanish governors of the area banned the celebrations. After the Louisiana Purchase, Mardi Gras came back as a funded celebration. People started to get rowdy in the streets during the 1850s, so a secret society called the Mystic Crew of Cumas staged the first large-scale, well-organized Mardi Gras parade in 1857. Mardi Gras is still celebrated as a parade in the streets of New Orleans.
February 28, 1947, the February 28th massacre begins. On this day, 2,000 Taiwanese gathered in front of the Bureau of Monopoly in Taipei to protest the vicious beating of a female cigarette peddler and the murder of a bystander by the police the evening before. The Chinese governor, Chen Yi, responded with brutality, killing several people on the spot with machine guns. Uprisings soon erupted, closely followed by a series of massacres on Taiwan by soldiers sent by the Kuomintang-led Chinese government. It is estimated that as many as 10,000 to 50,000 civilians or more were killed. The mass killings marked the beginnings of the White Terror period in Taiwan, where tens of thousands vanished, died, or were imprisoned. The February 28th massacre is one of the most important events in Taiwan's history and is a critical catalyst for Taiwan's independence movement.
February 28, 1987, Soviet President Gorbachev calls for a nuclear arms treaty. In a surprising announcement, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev said his nation was ready to sign a treaty without delay designed to eliminate U.S. and Soviet medium-range nuclear missiles from the vicinity of Europe. The proclamation led to a major break in negotiations and eventually the signing of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty in December of 1987. Gorbachev signed the agreement with President Ronald Reagan. The Soviets eliminated about 1,500 missiles and the U.S. nearly half that number from Europe.
Each year, a young student is selected to be superintendent for the day. This year, Isaac Mahoney, a 4th grade student from Wright Denny, enjoyed a day of being in charge. At the end of the day, Dr. Gibson sat down with Isaac and discussed his experience and his thoughts about being in charge of the school system.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Gibson. I'm very blessed to be the superintendent of Jefferson County Schools. And with me, I have a very special guest today. Mr. Isaac Mahoney of Driftwood Elementary School recently won the honor of becoming superintendent for the day. So I'm here to talk to him about his experiences. Hello, Mr. Mahoney. How are you?
Good.
So first of all, can you tell us how you got to be superintendent for the day?
Well, at Wright Denny, they had a silent auction, and I was scrolling through the things, and I saw being superintendent for a day, and then I asked my dad, what could that be? And then he was like, you can be the superintendent of the day. Means like you can be the boss of everybody at the board office, and you are the main person that signs everything and manages everything at the board office. So I thought that was going to be really interesting. So I put all my tickets in there, and then I won.
Well, congratulations. I'm certainly glad you did. I took a different path to being a superintendent, but I like yours. That was a great idea. You're a lucky guy. So you had one idea about what being a superintendent meant, and you spent most of the day with me today. So what about being what have you learned that's new about being a superintendent that you didn't know before?
All like the new organizations and how like most of those people don't have just like one job at the board office. They have many different other jobs, and how like everything in school to like human resources, how like they take care of you and stuff. To like, I never knew that you needed to take care of like the walls, the floor. I thought like there was just only for like books and like teachers, but like there's stuff for buses and your insurance and human resources if your like family is struggling or if you need any help.
Wow, you you absorbed a lot. That's pretty impressive. So what was the most interesting duty about a superintendent, or thing that you most wanted to do as a superintendent?
What I most wanted to do as a superintendent was to like go around the board office, make sure everybody was doing what they're supposed to do, make sure that enough papers are getting signed, reading over things carefully so nobody makes any like dumb decisions, and that's basically it.
That sounds a lot like my day. That was a great description. So actually, when we were speaking, one of the things that we talked about was your career choices. And you had talked to me about wanting to be a lawyer when you grew up.
Yeah, I think a lawyer would be an interesting job to have. You need to get a bachelor's degree and a PhD, which actually surprised me the most since you're a lawyer, and a master's degree. Even though I didn't think you need a PhD, I forget what subject it was again, but mostly why I wanted to be a lawyer, because I think I would make nice arguments and reasons why people should do that or shouldn't. And it would also be fun being a lawyer, because you would actually be able to see like the courtroom and stuff and how court actually does and the law and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm. So if I remember correctly, you are also the vice president of the very first student council at Driftwood Elementary, is that true?
Yes.
And how have you enjoyed that? What are some of the things you've gotten to do there?
Being vice president, it's really fun at Driftwood because first of all, I get to be on the morning announcements. And second of all, you get to participate in the activities that student council's doing. And also you get to, because we just did a coin drive to help the flood victims in south of West Virginia for the flood there, how they lost their homes and the schooling. It's really fun because you get to be looked up to from like kindergartners and first graders, and like think about like some kindergartners think, wow, I could be a vice president someday. So it's really cool.
Well, you are certainly doing a great job of being a role model. So one of the fun and interesting things that a superintendent gets to do is to call snow days. I know that when I met you at Driftwood this morning, several of your friends were encouraging you. So do you think we'll have a snow day tomorrow?
Depends on the bus, how the bus thing gets run, and the roads, if ice is on the roads or snow, then maybe we'll have a snow day tomorrow.
Maybe. Okay, well, maybe at 3:30 in the morning when I'm talking to Mr. Dingus about whether or not to have school tomorrow, should I give you a call at your house and check in with you?
Yes.
See? Yes, I should? Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. You've been a wonderful superintendent, and I will certainly call on you in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks to Isaac and Dr. Gibson for dropping by the JCS television studio for the interview. The weather is always changing and challenging to predict. Here's Diana with our weather forecast for the next week.
Throughout the next 7 days, sunrise will be around 6:42 a.m. and sunset will be approximately 6:05 p.m. Looking at Jefferson County the next week, highs on Saturday will be around 38 and clear with a low of 21. Sunday will be 45 and partly cloudy with the lows of 33. Monday 62, mostly cloudy with lows down to 45. There's a 60% chance of rain on Tuesday, 65 and low of 45. 60 on Wednesday, clear with lows of 35. Thursday will be a clear day with 56 and low of 37. Friday will also have a high of 56 with a low of 39. The following weekend looks like it's going to rain with the temperatures remaining 56 and lows in the mid-30s. That's it for the weather. All of our data comes from the National Weather Service, the Weather Channel Network, and the new Weather STEM station at American Public University. I'll see you next time with next week's weather. I'm Diana Bongiovanni.
That's all the news and views for now. I'm Amanda Vera Collins. See you next time.